Okay, today I'm going to take you through your first presentation in CueCam Presenter. We're going to write a script, we're going to record a run through, we're going to enhance it with Shoot and embellish it with graphics and video pencil. So let's go. That little bird on the lake. If it was a square, he wouldn't have been having so many problems. That's a lake nearby. That's on my run now. I'm in Scotland, and it gets cold. Anyway, welcome to Squares TV App Lab number 47. We've got a private Zoom and a public YouTube stream. So if you have any questions as I go, put them in the YouTube chat or just put up your hand in Zoom and I'll sort of bring your voice in. I won't put your face on or name or anything, but I'll bring your voice in and that'll come onto the stream. So today I think I'm just going to start into the tutorial, but do stay tuned to the end because I've got quite a few usability improvements that I've just been tinkering with over the last few days for CueCam mostly. So I've been working. Let's just jump into it. What did I plan on saying? So I'm going to switch over to my demo doc and give it a go. This is a CueCam demo doc. And it's been really challenging this week to, like, I want to record demos of CueCam, but I'm using CueCam to record the demos. So whenever I want to show how to do something in CueCam, it sort of like interferes with my recording. So let's see how this goes. I may still discover some glitches, but it does mean I've sort of pre-recorded a couple of bits and bobs to make that easier. So let's just see how it goes and see if this gets the point across, see if this is going to be a good tutorial. Let's have a look. So if I switch over to the other deck, so this is your first. Let me show you how to make your first CueCam presentation. So first you need to pick a subject, and I'm going to try talking at a public council meeting about bike lanes. I can imagine sort of dialing into a group Zoom and sort of getting my 2 minutes to speak. And, you know, I've noticed that there's not enough bike lanes in the city and I've seen not just bikes, and I'm like, I want to tell my council to do more of this. So you could just start writing and thinking and doing loads of research, but I don't know, like maybe this thing's starting pretty soon. So we start with a bit of AI support. So what does that involve? So what we do here, when we come into CueCam's landing screen, we see this, you can create a blank script or you can plan a talk with Chat GPT. So if I click on that, we are going to have some fields to fill in. So you could choose your audience for the presentation, give it a brief, and you know, decide what your goals are going to be and say how long that's going to be. Like 5 cards is down here. So let's just sort of fill in some stuff. So I'm going to say audience is Edinburgh Council City Town Hall meeting. The brief is explain the problems with car-centric neighbourhoods and how they can be improved with pedestrian and cycling infrastructure. Provide success stories from other countries. And then the goal is to create new advocates within the council and other attendees. And we just click generate script. And this is coming through quick. It was 20 seconds before, but it seems to take about 6 seconds or so now. So here's what that came up with. So that's a pretty good first script. And you know, I did run through this. You know, this is just an example I thought of, but I know that, you know, if you are an expert in something and you do want a presentation, then this is a really good way to start because you can just validate whether it makes sense. But yeah, so the next thing we do once we've got our basic script is to record a quick run through and see how that looks. So to do that, we need to launch. We're going to launch QuickTime Player, which has a recording function. So I just use Spotlight to launch QuickTime. And you can get this window by going new movie recording. If you missed that, it's up here. So you've got new movie recording up here. And then once you've got your new window, and you just need to, I'm just going to rearrange these a little bit. And you're just going to need to make sure that CueCam is selected in the camera source, and also if you're using the virtual mic, then that as well. And then you can press record in QuickTime and just hit the big pink button in CueCam to start recording a run through. So we shall come into demo mode, and hopefully I will be on the right. Let's try that again. Let me just, so here's our demo. I'm just going to bring this up, and hopefully it's going. Okay, so here's our little script, and what's going to happen here? So I've moved myself onto my laptop camera just to make this a bit more realistic, and I'm just going to show you like what it looks like. So you'd record this, but I'll just kind of, we're on the screen. So I'd be like, I'd press go on the thing, and it would be, okay, problems. Car-centric neighborhoods can lead to a number of issues, including, and then we can press the pink button to reveal each bullet point, including air pollution, noise pollution, lack of pedestrian and cycle infrastructure. And we can sort of go to the next card and go solutions. Okay, we can improve car-centric neighborhoods by investing, like Chat GPT not being the most useful here, but we can tidy this up as we go. But you see, like, it's not great because like I'm looking at my screen, I'm not looking at the lens. So if we come back, sorry, I've got to remember how to sort of like switch between these modes. The result is not great. And if I can just bring back my my main camera, I just want to be on my good one again. It's not great, and you're looking at your notes, you're not making eye contact. So we can fix this by using Shoot. So you can set up Shoot as a webcam and a teleprompter. So I just use a little, I've got this, it's a selfie stick, but it turns into a little tripod. So you can, sorry, I need to like shut my eyes so that it will focus on the selfie stick. And so it just like expands out, and you can put your phone, if I kind of come off camera, we'll be able to get that nicely in focus. It's a really cool little thing. Actually comes with a little remote control nub, so you can take pictures as well. But I find this a really useful little selfie stick, and it's really compact. It's nicely made. Anyway, so I'm going to just put that behind my laptop, and I'll just show you what the process of launching Shoot and getting going. So first thing you do is launch Shoot on your phone. Now, then you in CueCam, you can open up that little camera view, and under on the right here, there's a little option to select your main camera. So we can, now that Shoot's running, you can actually select Shoot there. So that's what I'll do. And now Shoot is my main camera, and I guess I might as well, I'll sort of parallel, I'll select Shoot as my main camera here as well, just so that we're all in sync. So now this is Shoot is my main camera. So this is, I'm looking at this. The other thing we're going to do is go into neighborhoods. Sorry, I've recorded this video, but what you can see is, yeah, I think maybe we missed that. But what I did was I went up into the menu. There's an output menu in CueCam where you can say send my program feed to Shoot. So now on the phone, after I do that, you see I select it there, program feed to Shoot, and now if you look up at the phone, you're going to see, look, it's got my camera view, and it's got the titles and graphics, but also what it's got is your teleprompter there, and that's the lens of the iPhone camera is there. So that means by putting this here, you're going to be basically making eye contact with your phone as you speak. And that just makes things look much better. And then the final thing I'm going to do here is in CueCam, you can actually pop out with a button here. You can pop out the advanced controls for Shoot. So I will just, oh, I guess I did it already. I will just pop that out. Neighborhoods, so we can see what we're saying. So pop out that sidebar. And then down here, there's an option called Face Follow. And that's just the other thing I've selected. So now if I come back to my, my script, I'll show you what that looks like. So there are many success stories from other countries that demonstrate the benefits of investing in pedestrian and cycle infrastructure. In the Netherlands, they reduced air pollution. In Denmark, they increased cycling. And in Germany, they reduced traffic fatalities. So, our goal today is to create new advocates. What I wanted to let's come back to solutions. What are the solutions going to be? And what are the problems? So you see, I'm sort of jumping around backwards and forwards a bit in the script, but you see, I'm maintaining eye contact and actually like I if there's slides to the side, then it moves out of the way, and then when we come back, it comes back to the solutions. So that's the difference between doing this through Shoot on your phone and sort of like looking down at your screen and sort of doing it a bit off camera, and it's really a huge difference. So coming back to my my main camera, I think that was pretty good, right? Um, So we've got a basic script, but like what we can do now is flesh it out a little bit more. So it's AI written, so it's not going to be the greatest thing in the world. But what we can do is like grab a web browser. Um, sorry, that's for later. But we grab a web browser, search for like walkable cities, do a little bit of a Google image search, grab something that looks nice, just grab that, stick it on your desktop, come back to CueCam, and now, when we come down here, we can click and add, you can start editing these little cards. So I can just drag that either into the background or into the side. I think I actually want that to be sort of a left thing like that. So if I just drag that there, then when I come to this card, we're going to have a nice a nice thing going on, and we can have our bullet points as well. So I've sort of gone to the wrong one, but yeah, you see, we can have bullet points and we can have nice things and other nice things, and it's quite easy to start adding and fleshing out and embellishing and just sort of adding a bit of production values to the whole thing. um the other thing you can do with all this, if you have an iPad to hand, launch Video Pencil on it. You've seen me doing it. Like I can draw, I can do the laser pointer, I can do sparkles. But yeah, like if I want to sketch an idea and say, oh, hey, actually, you can use the pencil. You don't have to. Um, um, Let me just make sure it's not. Yeah, so I can, I could say, okay, well, the high street is currently like this, and there's cars everywhere, and like this. But what if we could like add greenery to all this bit and all the intersections? Wouldn't that be great? You know, you can sort of like quickly in real time be adding a little bit of interest and explanation as well. And I use this all the time. Just who doesn't love a telestrator on their sort of little council talk? And actually, like I haven't actually plugged the sound into this. I haven't, the iPad isn't plugged in, so we don't get the audio. But or maybe we will through the microphone. But this sparkle thing, I was on a group call recently, and I had like 20 seconds to introduce myself. I threw in a little bit of sparkles, and it was commented on later. It's a nice way to stand out on a call, and you're not asking for screen share permissions, anything like that. Anyway, final step in all this. Oh, and then, sorry, that was step 6. Bring in video, draw with Video Pencil. Step 7, just bring this into Zoom by selecting CueCam. So it's just here. You can select CueCam as the input to Zoom. I spent like 45 minutes trying to find the other way of selecting the camera before you land on the call, but couldn't figure it out today. So this is what it looks like once you're in the call. Just bring that into Zoom like that. And there's also an audio. So for, once you start playing videos through this, you've got the virtual audio as well. But yeah, then all you know, if you have time before this, hypothetical council meeting, you can record another run through, refine the script as you go. You can do some more research. You can add images, you can add videos, and just, whatever makes sense to get your point across. You don't have to overdo it. You don't have to like, press play on a big video, but just if something's going to embellish your point, if something's going to make you clearer in a shorter amount of time, you can just add that in really easily just onto one of these little cards, that slides or cards, I'm calling them. So each run through is going to help you get a little bit better, and actually watching yourself back on video, it's hard to start with, but it will help you improve your delivery, and eventually your presentation skills will just improve by virtue of the fact that you're kind of like assessing yourself and improving it and iterating. And then if you don't have, and you can also just use this to make videos and do a recording and just maybe edit the recording, and that's also, I find, a really good way to learn sort of how to improve as well. So yeah, that's your first CueCam presentation. I really want you to try this once. Um, it's free to download. It's free to give it a go. It's free to use the Chat GPT thing. I think it will like generate the whole script, but it'll only let you edit the first three. So you can sort of give it a run through with sort of some grayed out cards for free. And you know, a lot of the time you might only need three cards, so it just gives you a little bit of structure. And then once you start really leaning on it, which I use this every week to do like a 45-minute long show, but I'm like building software and solving, writing emails and fixing bugs and doing all this other stuff. I'm really busy on a load of other work, and if I didn't have CueCam, I do not know how I would. I sort of CueCam is partly built out of necessity, or just out of the things I've learned from doing this regular show, and all just anything to reduce the friction of delivering, this content, delivering these talks, and actually being a bit prepared and not sort of like stumbling my way through it too much. Even though I did say a lot, I did notice as I was trying to. I think the main cause of that today was I haven't like looked at those videos that I've recorded many times, but hey, that's fine. But yeah, that's your first CueCam presentation. I hope that sort of gives you a little bit of context, a little bit of a sort of head start on how to get going with that. So what's next? We're going to jump back to the main thing now. So that by the way, that presentation. I mean, I don't. Maybe I can use that recording, but if I can't, I will. I'm going to record it. It's going to go into the docs, and you'll be able to download the CueCam doc as well and sort of run it. So this is sort of my plan for documentation. But yeah, it's a pretty big subject. So one of the reasons that you get a launch discount with CueCam, and I don't think it, I feel like there's one or two people that haven't quite realized this. Like, you're an early adopter, like there's some rough edges, and part of that is code. Maybe it's using a lot of memory. Maybe some of the stuff is a bit weird still, the usability. But like part of that, a huge part of that is documentation. So it's one thing to ship software, but to ship undocumented software is like it's almost as bad as like you need that. You need that documentation to sort of get people started. And for a lot of the apps I've made over the last couple of years, one or two YouTube videos has been enough to get you started, but the CueCam is a bigger beast, so there's a bit more to it. So while the app has been sort of good enough for I've been using it in production for a while, and it's sort of serving me well, but I know how to use it. But yeah, the fact that it does need a little bit more information on how to use it, so that's something I've been looking at. And also at the same time, trying to make it a bit less finicky. So I have noticed as a result of really pushing myself to do it this week is that there's this thing with documenting my own product is tricky because I have a constant fight with myself where as I write guides, I see ways that I could make things easier as I go. And then I sort of don't want to record the demo now because I'm about to change how that works. So I just want to quickly change how it works and then I'll record the demo after. But then like after I've done like 10, 15 little fixes and I haven't recorded a video or written any documentation because I keep just like, I want the documentation to be up to date. And that's the whole thing, like keeping up, documentation up to date is kind of a technical challenge in itself. So, I don't want to keep having to do the same demos. I don't want to, but also I need it to all be modular enough that if I do add a new area of the app, I don't have to record another hour presentation. So there's all these design decisions and the website as well. Like, what do I use? I'm using Coda for my docs, which I'll show you in a moment. But I've also been tinkering with some, syncing CueCam scripts up to the CueCam server along with all the videos so they can be pulled down, but also they can be used to render web pages. And it's easy for me to get a little bit carried away with that kind of stuff. And then you find that there's no information on how to use it because I keep getting distracted and trying to make it better, or trying to make systems to make it better. But yeah, this is excuses. I found this really useful model. Well, I'll tell you what happened. I've been talking to, a couple of people about this, but then I realized that my partner was sitting in the next room while I was stressing about this. And she has worked for many years in educational institutions like universities. And I realized, like, if I can understand, and she's not quite like leaned into the CueCam thing yet. So I thought, okay, she's the perfect case. Like, what would it take to get her to adopt CueCam? and I did a really good sort of hour with her, just like loads of notes, loads of thoughts, loads of ideas. And as a part of that, I remembered, yeah, there's this documentation framework. So yeah, I sort of ended up remembering this. So you've got the sort of four types of documentation. I thought this was a really good model. So you've got tutorials for like so tutorials are distinct from how-to guides. I'm realizing. So a how-to guide is a cool little short thing, like, oh, I just want to know how to add a long video to CueCam. Give me this in like 10 seconds so that I can just do it. Whereas a tutorial is like, okay, let's do a project. And that's what we've done today. It's like, okay, first CueCam presentation. So that's a sort of like longer form thing. It's a bit more of a project. It's a bit more, I guess, in some ways, like artificial, I guess, because it's for learning and it's to try and help you touch different things. And then we've got like the explanation part of it, sort of just to sort of understand why things are that way. And I think I've leaned into that a little bit too much in some of my documentation. Like I sort of want to explain why and what the thinking is behind it. But like you don't actually need to know that to know how to use it. So there's a time and a place for it, but it's fine. And then this is the thing I always try to like avoid, overdoing. Like you pick up a Canon camera manual and it's like it just tells you what it sort of goes through the screens one by one, and it's like, but how do I take a nice picture? Like how do I use this camera in the field? Like I don't need to read an index of every single minor like menu option. Like it's sort of, I noticed the Canon stuff does lack that kind of, I'm just coming to this camera for the first time, what do I need to know, what's the most important stuff? Like, so I've always tried to avoid too much of a heavy focus on reference, but it's quite good to have that there. So there is a place for that as well, and I can sort of start catching those things. And we talked about FAQs as well, and that's a nice thing to have. But also there was this issue of you can have a piece of software, if it's too bespoke, there's no way of finding sort of third party information on it. Whereas if it's something that lots of people use and it's the same version of the software, and which is something I'm pushing for, something I want. I don't want to be creating like bespoke software for different companies or different users. So, but it does mean then that communities can start to form around it and like help each other out, and other people can make documentation, and all that kind of stuff can work. So this is sort of what this is my thinking on the documentation stuff. And just this is sort of like where we're up to so far. If I can find the window that it is sharing, which is somewhere, I guess, here. So this is sort of like I've had a bit of a I've sort of structured the CueCam Presenter guide. I'm going to have a section on tutorials. Ooh, this is all written in Coda, so I quite like how quick it is for me to go. What's this? Record tutorial. So I'm sort of like building this up, building some tutorials. These aren't remotely done. We just kind of maybe recorded a take of one of them just now, but like and these may link into my fancy website thing. And then so we've got tutorials, and then I've got like the how-to guides, and I've put those under installation, setup, direct sharing. So this is the um let me come back to QCam. This is the which window is it sharing? Is it this one? Yes. So this is like direct sharing, like the control pads. Like, okay, I just want to immediately select a camera. I want to immediately share something. I want to immediately put some text onto the screen. So that's what that is. I probably need a better better name for it. Then cards and planning, which is all the sequence of cards, and then like remote control stuff. So this is where we kind of get into um, oh my God, please just stay. I'm using Apple's center stage thing, and it just keeps making windows go up and down randomly. But yeah, so remote control is where we can start to get into Ecamm and those kinds of things. But then account and billing actually is is where I've done the most work so far, because like how do you access the discounts? How do you manage your plan? But even to do this, I was going back to the website and like tidying up the layouts and removing extraneous information to try and get good screenshots so I didn't have to come back to this and do it again. So like now there's instructions on how to relinquish a seat, how to add someone to a plan, how to manage them, how to do this, that, and the other. So and this I'm kind of using Coda's nice features for that let you, you know, you can create tables. So this is a sort of table, and I'm able to sort of dynamically sort of build, you know, build this page from the contents of those tables, and these are the same table filtered in different ways. So that sort of technical process of writing those documents, it's not trivial. There's quite a lot to get right there. Have I got like a weird background picture on my camera? Is that what we're seeing when we transition? I think I have, haven't I? Like I need to just change. Sorry, I'll show you what I'm doing. I think I've had like a on my USB video. No, I haven't. Okay, never mind. Um, let's keep going. That's the website anyway. So that's a work in progress. Like it is live. Like it is what this is what you'll land on if you come through the menus of CueCam. But um, it's I just thought oh no, I'm seeing questions. I'm not hearing them. Um, where are we? Trying to find the thing. So yeah, this is the website. It comes up. It should be, but I'm fleshing it out as I go. So it's not there yet, but the thing that happens with it is, and this is what we're going to talk about next, is like as I write the document, as I go to do the documentation, I keep coming back to these, I keep noticing these things that are a bit wonky and a bit like awkward to do. So that's what I'm going to cover now. So we're working on documentation, but in the process of doing documentation has involved like some CueCam updates. So version 1.0.5 is what I'm running now. You don't have it yet. I have not shipped it, but I'll just, you know, I'll talk about what I've done. So what's this problems? Okay. The big thing is slide editing. So in the previous version, there was a bit of a like wonky screen, but you may see now that this slide pop-up has drop zones like in the right place. So the background image, the thing, and then if we change the layout, you can immediately see where that image is going to appear for a start. And this is just this is just really cool to be able to have done this. You've got your little light mode, dark mode button there for the slide, so that's going to make the text light or dark. Titles are here and bullets are down here, and there's no more like weird confusing list of things in this form. So if you've used the previous version, I hope you'll think this is an improvement. You can also, if you've added an image to something, you can now like drop it into the other slot and have it, and it'll be twice, and you just remove the other one. But you can sort of like drop those images around, and if you accidentally drag, because there was a bit of a case of I dragged it onto the wrong thing, and I have to go back and like pop up the thing and drag it onto the right thing. But I think this is really cool. And then I've just refined the process of, you know, like browsing, and you know, so that's all just a bit tidier. And also like just quality of life stuff, like when you're in the bullet point editor, you press, you know, you type in your bullet point, when you press enter, this is going to prove me wrong, it adds the next one, right? Like, so press enter again, another one, right? Of course, like you actually don't need to use that editor at all. You can just edit the cards to do bullets. But this is more like if you're not familiar with the mystical incantations that are required to make it work, then that's where to go. The next thing we're going to see, just something that I thought would be kind of cool is, well, that I found myself needing because I recorded a bit of a screencast, but we've now got, if you've got a video, have I got a video somewhere? What can I show you? I will show you one that has a video. So this one, where have we got any videos? So I guess here, like here's a video. There is now a playback speed control. Oh, you can't see that. Let's scroll it. Let's bring it down. I think we can show you playback speed. So there's a playback speed. And actually, like, you're not going to have this. I mean, I might just like let you have it, but there's an opacity control, which is how I've done the you know, when we launch, when we were counting down to this live stream, I was on Tony Mobley's thing a couple of weeks ago, and I noticed he had like a bit of a transparent thing, so you could still see us while it was counting down. I thought, well, why don't I just put like a 97% transparency thing? So I have done that. I haven't decided, I did it like an hour ago, so we'll see how that goes. Sorry, I'm scrolling through. Because I've got so many documents going open, it's it's hard to be 100% sure what's going to happen when I press next sometimes, but it should be good. Right. The next thing is like John During has been recording some great little videos. So now they're appearing on the CueCam Presenter on the CueCam Presenter YouTube. So that's at CueCam Presenter on YouTube. He's been recording some videos, but it's been another source of, I need to fix that. So for example, this one, he's put a square background on, but it's like stretched it out, and it's like, this is off brand. This is not in the brand guidelines. And then like this one, I noticed like the state of the audio bar there, right? Like it's gone all big and weird because like a video was playing and there was another input. So I've been fixing things like that. So now the audio thing will stay the right size and it will scroll internally if there's too many things for it. So just little, like, just sanding off those rough edges a little bit as we go. And yeah, speaking of demo mode, which was, that John was using demo mode there, and that's what I've been jumping in and out of. I have now got the ability to, in triggers on a card, there is actually a demo mode toggle now. So you can make it, you can make a card switch into demo mode. So that's great for people, it's great for me, and it may be great for you if you ever want to make a tutorial or show someone, or, like take someone through CueCam for whatever reason. It's quite cool to have it automatically switch into demo mode when you reach a card, and then when you press next, exit demo mode. So there are lots of other things. So should these be, yeah, so the other things we've got, you can now right click cards. Just, this was a tiny thing, but I know this, Sharon, I said, Sharon, can you like add a slide to this card? And it's like, if you're just looking at that, it's maybe not obvious, but I thought I'd just give you another chance, which is you can right click on it. I mean, that's still, maybe you still sort of need to know, but I just thought let's just start having some context menus here and there, and that probably helps. We've got some more consistent, just stuff is a bit more consistent. That was another thing that came out of this conversation. Like, if the software, like, it's a reason for it to be logical. If you can figure it out for yourself, if it behaves consistently. And I think CueCam, it's new, it's rough edges. Like sometimes something that worked in one place might not work in another place, and that's not a great experience. So I've been trying to sort of tidy that kind of stuff up. So things like and it's sort of like maybe you thought something would work and maybe it just didn't work. So one example of that is camera selection, sort of selecting shoot, different cameras on shoot. I will do this, so I can select the back camera, and I can select the front camera, or I can come back to my USB video. Like, that now works properly. And the right one is ticked. So that, like, I spent a little bit of time on that today, just because it's just one of those things where it's like, well, that's where it should be, but they tried that and then they never try it again. And then another one was like, if you're when you're picking which display, it just puts can we, if we bring this over, it just puts it puts your default display up at the top and like highlights it, because I'm like, which is my Mac and which is my big one? Every time it's 1800 by 1180. Now it's just like, okay, this is the one, and this is also the one that's going to appear if I just click desktop share. Like, clarity is improved. Like, this pink button is easier to read when you hover over it, and the default, yeah, as I say, the default display is easier to spot. I made some I did a thing that I've been meaning to do for ages, which is reuse graphics textures in a certain context where I wasn't. So now it's not allocating 7 megabytes of memory 30 times a second, and then like it takes a minute for it to clear it away again. Now it's like reusing the same 21 megabytes of memory for the whole feed, and that's has some stability benefits as well. I've done that for the movie playback as well, because sometimes, I don't know, something was happening, maybe something was going missing, the app might crash. So I've made a bit of an improvement there. So that's the stuff that's coming through. And then the other big one, and I hope you're seeing it, audio could slip out of sync. And this was like I don't know the actual underlying reason that's the sort of the thing gets like delayed a little bit, but now if it spots that like there's been a little bit of a lag or whatever, it's just going to make sure that the audio is in sync. So I'm hoping you're seeing me in crystal smooth, perfectly synchronized voice, and without me having to constantly double check and make sure that's okay. So that was a really big coup for me, and I feel a lot safer using the virtual audio in CueCam now. So one more thing, I don't know if you've been paying attention to these things. I have been tinkering with a record button because again it's like, oh, you got to fire up QuickTime to record it. Why don't we just add a record button? Now, I've actually like been tinkering with this in two places. One on like the main window to record a presentation, and like I don't just want it to be a record button, because I want you to have the option of like starting the presentation when you press record, for example, just so it's sort of like just one click. So there's subtlety to that user interaction. The other thing I'm looking at is that I did use this week, and it was kind of cool, picking up the video tab and like recording, and then that video goes into the slide. So if you just want to record a quick screen recording, you can use CueCam to find the screen recording. You can like zoom in on it, and then you can press record. I'm saying this is something I've been tinkering with, but it's just not reliable yet. And so the quality of the output is, sometimes it's fine, but sometimes it's a bit weird, and it can sort of delay. There can be a delay before it starts, and this is because I don't really 100% understand XPC services yet. And I know Ecamm use them all the time, and I've been sort of like side-eyeing it and thinking that would be useful actually. And it is really useful for recording, because it means I can set up a separate process that just takes the virtual camera, virtual mic. It's not like routing it internally, it's just taking what the rest of the apps on your system see. But like I haven't really used it very much, and I'm not quite sure what the life cycle of it is, and I do see it using a lot of memory, so I don't want to just, but I think like CueCam's already using it, but I did just save like 400 megabytes of RAM, so maybe I'll just like spend that on the XP, on the background service that lets you always record immediately, because there's nothing worse than pressing record and like it missed the first couple of seconds and sort of like becomes a bit useless. So that is the update, and that's where we are. So I see we have some questions, and feel free to add more. But I see Rakesh has been posting away. So I see. So let's have a look. Let's just let's pin these up. Add to broadcast. So is that coming through? So the Zoom users won't see this. Shoot Beta I was using from test flight expired, and I guess was the only one which works with CueCam. No, the real version of Shoot works with CueCam. Like the App Store version works. So 1.0.4 right. So then we've got a startup crash. I have heard about this one. I have actually fixed it. And it was yeah, well, I spent Saturday night with Dan trying to figure out why his app was suddenly crashing on startup, and it's kind of a bit of a silly one, but it is going to be fixed in the next build when that comes out. So I'm sorry about that. But yeah, just install as I say. But the other one, yeah, Shoot, it works. Oh, audio glitching. No. Let me just see what. Let me just preview it for myself. How's this? So, can you say a bit more about that, Jeff? I am Jeff Cohen. About the glitching. Is it like? Well, we'll maybe I'll just I'll have to play it back. But at least it's in sync. Oh, I see Jeff is on the thing. All right, I'm going to dial you in, Jeff. So get ready to. You may hear a bit of you'll hear it coming back into Zoom. Oh, actually, no, I don't have to do. Yeah, no, you'll hear yourself, but try not to get distracted. You're on.
Okay, let's see if I hear myself. Oh, yeah, that is quite distracting, but that's okay. Yeah, the glitching, I think it was also in your last video, just like some crackling, that kind of thing. Not severe and not terribly frequent, but it has been happening. I think it was more so when you were switching sources, when you were kind of trying to go back and forth between using your stuff and showing your stuff. I don't think I've heard it in the latter part of this talk, so maybe that's a clue. And I mean, you'll hear it back, when you play it back.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah,
I do have a
let me.
question.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, hit me.
Sure. So two things. As I'm firing up CueCam, it does the check to see if I've enabled everything. And so far, because I probably will not route my audio through CueCam, can I get it to stop prompting me to install the virtual mic?
I mean, for now, no, because like, oh well, let me just disconnect you. Um, this should work. Yes. Um, I do want that virtual mic to be on there because it like otherwise I start getting issues when someone tries to play a video back and like it's not got the sound, or you want to share a window and it's not got the sound. So I I think, to be honest, I if you just you can click I'll do this later. Um, Let me have a think about it, but I just it could cause knock-on problems for me if I like if I don't sort of push for that audio thing. But at the same time, you will have seen from the tutorial today, I didn't even mention the virtual audio because actually that's it is only if you want to start like sharing extra audio sources or sharing the sound on a video. So it's not maybe something that everyone's going to do necessarily. So maybe you've convinced me. Let me have a think about that. I will listen. It's like I don't want to make people give up on it. I want it to be there when you need it, because the trouble is like 99% of the time you're not going to use it, but I really want it to be there when you do need it. So that's just, and the only way to do that is to just kind of like make you install it. Um, would it? I mean, here's a question. Like, would it? Do you have like an alternative loop back that you're already using that is just like you're fine with? Like, would if I hooked it into a different loop back, would that be acceptable?
Well, I guess in my scenario, I'm not sure that I would route audio through QCam at all. I envision probably using QCam for all video screen sharing, everything else, and routing audio separately. I mean, because in my case, I just have all the routing capabilities I need.
I would say give it a go, because I've got some pretty. It's deceptively simple looking. There's LUFS metering in there. Like there like you people you wouldn't have to jump onto a. You see this, this thing. Is this gonna? Yeah, like we've got full LUFS metering here, um, and just I think I've put quite a lot of design into making this not awkward like all of the other audio loopback things can be. So I really want I really want you to give it a go before just assuming that it's not going to be helpful. But yes, anyway, I always end up relenting on these things, but that's my thinking. So yeah.
All I'm thinking about, like other software that prompts, is default certainly should, but perhaps somewhere deep in the settings is an option to stop prompting. That way, someone has to know and really go in there to stop getting prompted, and then you do what I agree is a good idea, is to keep prompting people for what is an elegant, beautiful solution to audio.
Cool. That's a really good point, because I was picturing like don't ask me again on that main thing, but like if I can bury it in a menu, then I think that makes you happy, and then it like stops me from having to sort of deal with quite so many people that just like would prefer to skip it than reboot. Because you have that's the one thing you have to reboot for. But yes, thank you. That's really useful.
I could, quick question. When I fire it up, I don't see an option, and I may have screwed up my login accounts. I fire it up and I'm logged in with the same Apple ID as the Shoot app. It and I don't even see much options to use it now. And then I know in the website it says fire it up and link the two apps. So how do I do that? How do I tell it this is what I'm using Shoot with?
so I've talked about Wait a minute. You're not talking about the discount. Usually people are asking about the discounts when they talk about this. Shoot, literally, it it's a kind of it just works situation. Like that's like if you want to use Shoot, you just like bring launch it and you can select it as a camera. You get the remote controls for it just within CueCam. So it's really like it's just a direct, like pretty tight connection, pretty tight integration with Shoot.
To, but yes, on the website it says to see what your pricing is if you're already using to connect the apps.
Yeah.
And so are those, is that a different thing?
Yeah, that's basically like yeah. So I didn't want to make people who'd shelled out $100 for Shoot to also have to shell shell out a lot for QCam if I wanted to like honor that sort of commitment and that investment. So to do that, like all you have to do is this is basically to make some discounts show up when you come to buy a CueCam Presenter subscription. So if you launch CueCam Presenter, if you fire up Shoot nearby on the same Wi-Fi network or plugged in over USB, it will just see that over the network and just push up to your account that what you bought, which in-app purchases you made, and then when you come to checkout, you will see like your purchases itemized. And if you bought Beat Sheet, it's you Beat Sheet thing you should see show up as well because it goes and checks your email on the Squares TV server. But if maybe you had a slightly different Apple ID or a different thing, then I can fix that for you. So just reach out. But you should get like whatever you've paid for Shoot, Video Pencil, or Beat Sheet just discounted from that first year, basically. So yeah, just all you do that's what that's all about. And I have actually like I will just mention that I have now this is actually now written down. So if I go to Windows, go to CueCam Presenter Guide. Under Accounts and Billing, we have got access discounts for Shoot, Video Pencil, and Beat Sheet. If you already paid for one of the apps, your purchases can be discounted. So that's what that should look like in checkout, and it just sort of tells you what to do and if what to do if they don't appear. So it is now documented. So we're getting there. I can start saying, yeah, I can start pointing people at that as well. So does that answer everything, Jeff? Thank you for your questions. That's great. All right. So I think we are. Where am I up to? Yeah, I think we're. If there's no more questions, like Ecamm's been very quiet with telling me about YouTube chats, but okay. One quick question. Let's have a look. Add to broadcast. One quick question. Right now, I'm directing my output to OBS. Can I direct it to Shoot app somehow so that I can get as an HDMI output into some switcher? Right. Wait. Can you direct? I'm directing my output to OBS, right? So for recording or streaming, right? So I'm using Ecamm in the same way. Can I direct the output to the Shoot app somehow so that I can get it as a HDMI output? What? So you want to like actually use the program feed as your video into a Rakesh? This is too complicated. Like this is you're making things too complicated. Like don't that's like so OBS is your thing. If you like the Shoot loopback thing is so that you can monitor yourself and so that you can see your teleprompter. It's not for like like wiring up a convoluted sequence of dependencies on your computer that if you come back to in 3 months you're gonna be like, what is this? So like yes, it does send it out to Shoot, but technically, actually, no. Even if you did plug the HDMI out of Shoot, you'd just get the plain camera feed, even if it was showing the program feed. So the answer is no to that question, and it's like there's probably a simpler way to do what you want to do. And like to be honest, like you're going to get latency introduced if you start doing that because it's going over the network two ways, and like and then it's going into another thing and another thing. So just go easy on yourself, make your life easy. Don't if you did but the thing that I would say is like if you do want to just see your OBS output on your phone screen, like you if and it's got a couple of extra things on it, you can just select in the program feed inside CueCam, you can select any window on your computer. So you can select your Zoom screen. So that's the main reason I did that, so that I could have Zoom conversations without my big teleprompter and still be able to use the features of CueCam. But you can select your OBS window or like a OBS program window and just bring that up onto your phone if there's a couple of extra layers that you've added in and you want to be able to see those. So yeah, that's certainly possible, and that's the intended use of it. You could like screen mirror it, but no, I would be cautious about using that as a source though. That's all. So yeah, thank you everyone. Right. Let's finish up, shall we? Where are we? 49. I'm 5 minutes over my target of 45 minutes, but that's because of questions, so I'm always grateful. This is Squares TV Discord. This is where we hang out and where you can get help when I'm asleep. Thank you for joining me today. I know attention is in short supply, so I really appreciate it. I really hope you'll give CueCam a try. I hope you'll give me feedback, and I hope you'll have fun with it and do great things. And I'll see you next week.